All the riffs I'd done, I always tried to make them big and powerful. Because we were only a three-piece, like musically, we had, and then Ozzy never played an instrument, so we had to make it as big as we could. And so that was it, really. That was the approach on all the songs, was to try and also like songs like War Pigs or whatever. I'd let the bottom note ring to make it bigger.
Your skin starts turning green. Take your dirty rose. You join the other fools. Turn to something new. Now it's killing you. First it was the bomb, Vietnam, Nepal, disillusioning. You push the needle in. From life you escape, reality away. A dream
was, remember this, when we were recording the album with Black Sabbath, Paranoid, we were going to call the album War Pigs. If you look at the album cover, it's like three guys in a pink layer side with a sword. The album was called War Pigs. Roger Byrne, the producer, said we need a few minutes to finish the album. Just jam something. So we just jammed Paranoid, the song. Went flying up the charts, changed the name of the album to Paranoid.
Basically, Paranoid was a filler. It was done as a filler. We weren't, we'd never done a 3-minute song before. So it was just to fill in. It's amazing what that track did.
Everybody, welcome to episode 2 of my Black Sabbath album deep dives. Today I'm talking about their second studio album, Paranoid, undeniably one of the greatest heavy metal albums, one of the most influential metal albums of all time. It was released on September 18th, 1970. The band went into the studio in June of 1970, just a few short months after their debut album was released. Roger Byrne was once again producing, and they knocked out one of the heaviest, one of the most iconic metal albums of all time. Even if it's not the greatest Black Sabbath album, even if it's not my favorite or your favorite, there's no denying this album was an absolute game changer. The debut absolutely was influential, but for the first time, Black Sabbath actually charted with one of their heavy singles. The song Paranoid got to number 4 on the UK charts. Originally, the album was going to be called Walpurgis, which is some sort of satanic ceremony, but the record company wouldn't have any of it. Then Tony Iommi decided, well, let's call it War Pigs. But then the single Paranoid took off. So Paranoid it was, even though the album cover photograph has absolutely nothing to do with being paranoid. And Geezer Butler, who wrote the lyrics of Paranoid, has said he kind of confused paranoia with depression. He was absolutely feeling depressed. He said if Black Sabbath hadn't taken off, he probably would have killed himself. That's just how down in the dumps he was before Black Sabbath made it. But no matter what the title of the album it is a beast of a record. The album starts off with War Pigs, which is one of Black Sabbath's most iconic anthemic tracks, talking about all of the generals and the people who make war at the expense of the people who actually have to fight the war. Those, according to Geezer Butler, he feels those are the real Satanists, no matter what reputation Black Sabbath had. The real Satanists are the ones who are sending young kids off to war for their own greedy gains. But it has a fantastic, heavy Tony Iommi riff. Ozzy Osbourne sings it like only Ozzy can. But it has got to be one of the heaviest, hardest rocking anti-war statements ever.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
The next track is a single, Paranoid, and Paranoid was written almost as an afterthought. They needed one more song to fill out the album, and so Tony Iommi came up with this riff on the spot, and they just kind of jammed around it. Geezer Butler has said they're surprised they never got sued by Led Zeppelin because the song is so similar to Communication Breakdown. They were all huge Led Zeppelin fans, but fortunately that didn't happen. Ozzy Osbourne came up with the melody, and then Geezer Butler ran away and quickly wrote the lyrics. They said in total it probably took about 25 minutes for them to come up with this song, but it is probably, to people who are just casual Black Sabbath fans, probably the most recognizable Black Sabbath song in their entire discography. But it is still very cool. I don't care that it's been overplayed. It is still such a high charge, kind of early bit of punk rock almost, if you will. But a great, great song. Then Black Sabbath gets a little mellow as they would ever get. And they really had some misgivings about even putting this song on the album because they thought, is this really the direction we want to go with? But I think it works really, really well. I love the underwater quality of Ozzy's vocal, just the smooth, laid-back nature of it. It's a very chill, calming kind of song.
I just started playing this riff, and then we thought, well, it was so quiet, that, and Bill liked it, and really liked it, and so Bill just started joining in on the little congas he had. So I just play.
Then the last track on side one is Iron Man, which originally was called Iron Bloke, because when Ozzy Osbourne heard the riff, he said, that sounds like an iron bloke stomping around. They changed it to Iron Man, and I don't know if they were aware of the comic book hero Iron Man, if that was just coincidental or not, but that Tony Iommi guitar riff is one of the most recognizable, one of the most brilliant guitar riffs and simple guitar riffs that Tony Iommi ever wrote, but it's so powerful. Ozzy singing in such a commanding voice. I just love Iron Man, and I never get tired of it. Side 2 opens up with the majestic, maybe majestic is not the right word, but the very powerful Electric Funeral. And I love, on all these songs, Ozzy is singing right along with the guitar riff, but it's got this plodding, dark, heavy, foreboding feeling about it. I love how it breaks off into, I guess, what might be called the chorus, and it turns into like this boogie rocker. But Electric Funeral is just great. It's one of those deep tracks. When you haven't heard this album in a while, I absolutely love when that song comes on. Then Hand of Doom with that spooky, haunting bass riff. Another anti-war song about depression and drug addiction. Very ominous and dark. I love the light quality of the verses, and then in what I guess you could call the chorus, it just beats you over the head and becomes so powerful. And I love when they break off into that heavy instrumental section. It is just so freaking killer. Then we have the instrumental / drum solo, Rat Salad, which again sounds a bit like boogie rock. I like this one, having Black Sabbath tear into a meaty instrumental like this is really enjoyable to listen to. And then the final track, another anthem, Fairies Wear Boots. And I remember the first time I heard the title of the song, I'm like, what are they talking about? Fairies? I didn't understand, like, what were they singing about? But as it is now, it is a Black Sabbath classic. And I love how the album's bookended with the heavy War Pigs and the heavy Fairies Wear Boots, which also has a bluesy boogie element to it, but a very cool way to close out the album. All right, so that's my take on Paranoid. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you're enjoying this series, and take care.